PWHL Toronto gets off on the right foot with a series opening win against Minnesota. Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the PWHL. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Mike Ganter of the Toronto Sun. And Mike, I don't think PWHL Toronto could have drawn up a better result in their first ever playoff game as they beat Minnesota 4-0 in game one of their semifinal series. What were your biggest takeaways from the victory?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. You couldn't have asked for a better game one. I mean, part of it may have been, and I'm trying to give Minnesota the benefit of the doubt here. They did arrive. There was a quick turnaround. I mean, this was set up for them to be at a severe disadvantage. As it turned out, they didn't. They arrived in Toronto on Tuesday without their luggage, without their equipment. The equipment didn't get to Toronto until 11:30, so they didn't get to practice. So, I mean, all that will mess with the team a little bit. So maybe they come out with a better effort on Friday in game two, but it just didn't feel like they were all there on Wednesday night. Toronto dominated from start to finish. I think Coach Troy Ryan even said, that there was a period there in the second when Minnesota sort of sustained, some attack in Toronto zone for maybe a shift and a half. But even then, it didn't feel like they were in trouble because, any shots they got, there was always somebody out to block them. And if they weren't blocking them, then Campbell was back there stopping them. And there was no rebound in terms of the rebounds. Like there was no threat. It just like Minnesota just didn't feel like they were there all the way. I mean, I know they've had a rough time. They've lost their last 5 in the regular season, kind of backed into the playoffs, but they are they do have some firepower there, and they should be able to score. Toronto just dominated them, and it was so one sided. It was a little surprising.
Yeah, it definitely was. And these two teams, of course, have played a lot this year, so they were pretty familiar with each other. But, if you are Troy Ryan and you're looking ahead to the rest of the series, you love the game one victory. But as we know, coaches don't like resting on their laurels. They want their teams to continue to be perfect moving forward. What do you think they might need to work on? And on the other side, what does Minnesota need to do to make sure that this is not a quick series?
Yeah, I mean, Troy's way too savvy to tell us or anyone in the media what he's going to do. But you were right. He's been down this path before. He knows what to do when you're ahead in a series. He knows what adjustments he'll make, and I'm sure there'll be some adjustments. But I kind of tried. I asked him that a little bit this morning, and he basically sloughed it off and said, we'll do what we need to do, and there'll be minor tweaks. But the major tweaks are really going to have to come from Minnesota. They have to find a way to put more pressure on Kristen Campbell and somehow get shots through. I didn't feel they got very many good chances. I think there was maybe 3 I counted in the entire game where it felt like, oh, that could have been a goal. They've got to do more than that. Kristen Campbell, she's in a zone right now. She's playing as good as she ever has. She's calm. I mean, I watched last night, and even those pucks that would sort of, the odd puck that would sort of bounce in front, she didn't lunge at anything. And that's when goalies are a little off, right? They're lunging and they're sort of taking themselves out of position. She just sit back there calmly and wait for the puck to get to her. I mean, she's got all that equipment on, and you're in that tight. The puck's right in front of you. It can't. As long as you stay square, it's not getting by you. And she was just. It was really impressive watching her and how calm she was. A couple of her teammates commented on it after the game. So yeah, they've got to do. I mean, it's basically the same thing that Toronto talks about when they play Montreal. I mean, Toronto knows when you play Montreal, and Renee Desbiens can steal you a game. And the only way to make sure she doesn't steal you a game is to, get bodies in front, don't let her see the puck, and get a few by her. That's what Minnesota's going to have to do. But they've got their work cut out for them because this team right now is rolling.
Yeah, they definitely are. Great start to the series for Toronto. We'll see if they make it 2 in a row on Friday night. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For all of Mike's PWHL coverage, head to the Toronto Sun.